How do you know if all your years of service are counting towards retirement? I'm JT, and this is all about FERS. The goal for today is to make sure that all your years of federal service, or at least as many as possible, count towards your pension in retirement. The first thing to understand is creditable service. Creditable service refers to your part and full-time work that goes towards the Federal Employee Retirement System, or FERS. Now, not all service is creditable service towards FERS, so it's important to make sure that you know exactly how many years of creditable service you have, and it's important to confirm how many years OPM thinks you have as creditable service, and make sure that those are the same. This can be critical for retirement planning purposes, so there's no big surprises when retirement comes. So let's look at two common scenarios that I see among federal employees. There's the simple scenario, the simple career path, and then the more complex career path. The simple career path says that you worked at the same agency for your entire career. There's no breaks in service, there's no part-time work, no leave without pay. It's pretty straightforward. You were hired as a full-time employee and then continued your service up until MRA, or minimum retirement age, probably around age 57. This is the most simple and basic, straightforward option. Typically, we don't see many mistakes under this scenario, but it's still important to confirm and make sure that your service computation date for retirement purposes and for leave purposes are correct. And we'll talk about that in a minute. The second scenario is a little bit more complex scenario. You didn't just have one agency for your entire career, but maybe you jumped around to a couple different agencies. Maybe you had some part-time work, maybe some internships while you were in college. Maybe you had leave without pay. Maybe you have a military career and you bought back that time. There's any number of things that can make this more complicated. And generally, if there's more complications, there's more information being transferred from agency to agency, and there's more opportunity for mistakes. So to confirm your years of service and to make sure that there are no mistakes, the first step is confirming your retirement service computation date and your service computation date for leave purposes. The second step here is checking your records and making sure that you have copies of everything. So two homework assignments here. The first one is to gather up all of your SF50s. Now, I know that can be a little bit daunting and a lot of work, especially if you're approaching retirement and you already have 30 plus years of service. But it's going to be really important for you to gather up all of your SF50s. Your SF50 is the official document that will tell you if those specific years counted towards retirement. What we're going to want to look at is on every SF50, we're going to review box 30. In box 30, it will say either FERS and FICA or FICA only. If it says FERS and FICA, chances are that qualifies as creditable service for retirement. If it says FICA only, then it didn't count as creditable service for retirement, and it's not, you weren't paying into your pension. The second document that we're going to want to get is the Certified Summary of Federal Service. This is Form SF 3107-1. This is the only official document that OPM will recognize in computing your years of creditable service. This document can be requested from your HR department, and they have to fill it out. Don't fill out this document and attempt to add in your years of service at different agencies. Your agency needs to complete this document. And it will show all the years if you have different agencies. And if you have that more complex scenario, all of the different agencies that you worked at will be listed in that document, and it will say if it counted for FERS. Now, this next step really only applies to military, but if you had a military career and are eligible for the buyback, it's worth looking into and seeing what that deposit is and how many years of service will count towards your retirement. Another thing to consider is any part-time work. Now, part-time work does count towards retirement, but only proportionally to full-time work. So if a full-time employee worked 5 years at an agency, and all 5 years counted towards FERS, if a part-time employee working, let's say 50% of the time, worked for 5 years, they wouldn't get 5 years of creditable service. It would be 2.5 years of federal service. So it's reduced proportionately to the amount of part-time work that you're doing. So if you have a mix of full-time and part-time work, it's going to be really important to look at those years and confirm how much is actually being credited as creditable service and making sure that it's correct. So it's going to be important to prevent any issues now and prevent any complications later on. Even if you're still a few years out from retirement, it's really important to gather up all the SF50s that you have and get that certified summary of federal service and confirm that your years that you do have are counting towards retirement, rather than waiting until the last minute when retirement is right on your doorstep and trying to get these numbers figured out. If you would like help in figuring out how many years of service you have or in gathering these documents, if you'd like someone to take a look at your unique situation, then click the link below to access our website and schedule a consultation with one of our federal benefits specialists. Until next time, happy planning.